to this episode of Who Gets the China. I am so excited to have my esteemed guest. Her name is Casey Von Stein, and you might know her as Miss Freddy. She is a professional photo organizer, and her mission is to help you organize your family's memories without the overwhelm. She can do it for you or teach you how to do it yourself at her website, which has an amazing blog with tons of great tips and lessons. And so today I wanted to dig in with Miss Freddy about an issue facing so many of us who have aging parents who we're trying to help downsize and declutter. And this is the historical photo stash. As we talked about, this can be everything from slides and scrapbooks to completely overwhelming digital libraries. So I want to take advantage of your expertise today and help give our listeners some great advice and tips and tricks for managing the historical photo library. So thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
I think we all have the same feeling of like where to start is the hardest part. So, do you have advice for those of us that are not just worried about our own family's library, but archives, but also our parents? Like, help us get over the hump to begin the process.
I think it helps to not view it as one enormous, comprehensive project. It's only natural to look at it and see, well, their whole basement, all these boxes. And we have to make it smaller, or else it is this mountain that we can't scale. So, how can you look at, I'm just going to handle their digital piece today, or I am just going to scan the slides today, or I'm just going to find out who can scan the slides for me. How can we make small action steps that will eventually get us to finish this enormous project, but we can't see it as this huge project, or we'll never start.
You start, and then it's easy to get into that overwhelm.
Yeah, you have to get the ball rolling, and then there's momentum, and you'll get little small wins along the way, and you'll get these little glimmers of, oh, I just found my college transcripts. That's funny. Like you get these little glimmers of memories that have been long forgotten or long buried, and it rewards you as you go. So this doesn't have to be heavy and hard the whole time.
We talked a little bit about breaking it down into the physical library, and then there's the digital library. So maybe let's start with the physical, because I feel like that's
Okay.
easier to see and touch, and also you notice it because it's around you. So say I want to tackle my mom's various archives. Help me think about where to start.
Yes. Again, we're not going to look at the whole basement. We're going to look at one box at a time. So, okay, let's grab this blue box. And this weekend, that is my task. It might look different if your parents are still alive or if your parents have passed and you've inherited it. If your parents are still alive, I think it's useful to go through it with them. So, hey, I'm coming over this weekend. We are going to review the blue box. You can tell me stories about the things that we come across. But the goal is to decide, what are we keeping and what are we letting go? Because even in my own photo box that I opened to scan my photos years ago, over half ended up in the trash. When I finally sat down and reviewed what was in that box, so much of it was meaningless, could go in the trash without a second thought, and that immediately made the work smaller. Oh my gosh,
Right.
there's half of this box is all I have to deal with.
What are some guidelines that worked for you in terms of getting that 50% purge?
So there's not necessarily a goal. It has to be 50%. I was just so shocked that my trash pile was bigger than everything else in the box. So for me, it was really obvious. I could make that decision in 2 seconds, just going with my gut of, I don't need this digital. I don't need this physical. I didn't know this was in here and it doesn't matter to me. It's the Marie Kondo. It didn't spark any joy. I felt fine getting rid of it. Often they are doubles or triples because remember it was like, oh, it was penny Mondays and you could get doubles
Yes,
for a
totally.
penny. So we did. Now we complain all day about duplicates in our photo libraries, but back in the day we used to pay to make
Yes,
doubles.
you're
And
right.
so often there would be two or three of the same photo and that was immediate junk. For me, I learned I wish I had learned earlier in my life what you said, the landscapes, put a person in the photo. And so there's these travel photos from middle school and high school where they're just terrible. It was probably a disposable camera and it's
Yep.
some landscape and I don't know where it is and I can throw it away. But when it comes to your parents, it's a little different because there might be things that your mom thinks are keepers for her. And they aren't a legacy item that would be a keeper for you. Maybe it is her trip that she went on in 1980 to Italy. You don't care, frankly. She
Yes,
cares.
right.
And so I do think there's the trash pile, which is probably obvious. There's a legacy pile, which is what matters to you and your mom. And then there's a keeper pile that only matters to your mom and doesn't need to live beyond her.
I'm almost envisioning sitting on the couch with my mom. I'm going to be there next week in San Diego where they live, and just picking up one of the buckets and saying, "Okay, let's go through this together. This we're going to have three piles. This is trash.
Yeah,
It means something to you. You get to keep it. And this is a legacy photo."
probably digitize that so
Okay,
that
that's
I
what I
can
was going to
share
ask.
copies with my brother or my sister or your whoever. Yeah.
So, agreed. So, digitizing it would then be the wise choice with a legacy photo because we want to
Mhm.
make it so that we can share it.
Mhm.
And then, I mean, I know, for instance, we could send things to you and you provide digitization service.
Sure. Yeah.
That's high quality. And that's one option. But say also we're just sitting there and I'm like, I just want to get some of this stuff done. I mean,
Mhm.
do you recommend, can I do it with my iPhone? Is it good enough
Mhm.
quality? Like what's the minimum viable product that I could
Yes.
do?
There are lots of different phone scanning apps. My two favorites are either PhotoMine, if you've heard of them,
Hmm.
or there's one that used to be called Unfade, and now it's just called Photo Scanner, but that one is not available on Android, so it's harder for me to globally recommend. So PhotoMine is a good one to have in your pocket in San Diego, and you can scan photos in the moment. Now, they won't be such great quality that you could print that as a canvas to put on your wall or to make it the cover of a photo book. But if your goal is to just share this on social media or to text it to your sibling,
Right.
it's sufficient for that. You're basically taking a photo of a photo, but the scanning app helps crop it automatically. It helps direct you on like holding your phone level to make sure you're getting a good product. The most important thing to remember if you're going to do this minimum viable product is pay attention to the lighting. So if you're sitting like off
Yeah.
the dining room table and you have an overhead light and you're trying to take an overhead picture of this photo, you're going to have a shadow of your hand and the phone. That's the hardest part to get a good quality output of a photo of a photo. You want to make sure the lighting in the room is good. My trick for that is I turn off all the artificial lights, the overhead lights, and I just set up a piece of white poster board or a piece of white printer paper
Hmm.
near a window. And so I just have natural light reflecting on it, and it will really help with the glare and the shadows from overhead if you just let the window light cast in.
Is it better to set up like an easel or something so that you're taking a vertical picture
I do
versus
it
like having it on the
overhead.
table? You do. Oh, you do it
Yeah,
overhead.
I do it
Okay.
overhead. If the light's coming in from the window to the side, you should be okay to do it
Oh,
overhead.
okay.
And then you can get up like basically an assembly line, right? You've got
Yeah.
you've got the paper, you're setting one, taking the scan, move, take the next one, take the scan, move. And so it is time consuming work, but if it is a small enough volume, you can do it that way.
The specialness of it all is in doing it with them if you're lucky enough to
Hmm.
have them around because you can just the stories that they come out with
Yeah.
is that's for me like what's really powerful and fun and valuable about doing this together. Like it's nice to have the pictures, but then to have that memory associated with it is what I love.
Yes, I did the scanning alone. Like I surprised my parents by scanning the collection and I gave it to them on a digital frame and a flash drive for Christmas.
Hmm.
And so I didn't get the interaction with the stories. And after the fact, my mom came back and said, "It's so funny. The other day we came downstairs and a picture of me with my ex-boyfriend was up." My parents were high school sweethearts, so I didn't even know. I
Oh
didn't
my
know about
gosh,
this
I
person.
love it.
I had no idea who that guy was
Oh
that I
my
scanned. And so
gosh.
the story came out after the fact when my dad was asking, why do we have a framed picture of you with this random guy you went on a date with before me?
Let's talk about slides for a minute because I don't know if this is the same for your family, but I mean my parents are old enough that they got married in the 60s. They have slide carousels still of their trip
Yeah.
to Italy and a lot of different things. And I have done some scanning with one of those multi-slide scanners. I find that to be kind of overwhelming. Like I'm not sure if the
Hmm.
quality is good enough. Um, I don't know. Educate me on how I can
Yeah.
do a better job with the slides.
With a negative or a slide, they are such small surface area that it is hard to look and really quickly identify, oh, this is junk or this is not. You can't tell if someone's eyes are open. You can't tell if it's even blurry or clear because it's so small. And so those are trickier. And also, I don't think you should use a phone app to scan those because they're just too small. You need to get
Okay.
the equipment to scan it and get a great generated final image. My trick would be if you take your phone screen or your computer screen and you just open a blank Word document or you open I think it's whitespace.org or something. There's a website you can open. It's just a white screen. I think it's whitescreen.org and turn your brightness all the way up. You basically are making your computer screen or your phone screen or your iPad screen a light box. You can set the negative or the slide on there and see it because you need that light to come through. And then maybe a magnifying glass is needed to kind of really tell what's happening. Depends on your eyesight. But yeah, those are harder to diagnose in that quick gut reaction of is this junk or not. They do make slide viewers. I have one. It's vintage. I got it at an antique store. But you
I
can
think
put
we
it in
have
there
one
like
too.
those
Yeah, it's this
viewfinders
little
and look
square
through.
thing. Yeah.
And you point it at the light. Yes,
Yeah.
I have one of those. But you can just make your own little light box on whatever device you have by boosting the brightness and opening a
Okay.
white screen.
And
Yeah.
then it's bigger because, like, to your point, even when
Yeah.
you're looking on that little screen, that slide reader, you're still not sure, do I save this so that I can send it to somebody like you
Mhm.
and have them digitize it? Or is it, like you said, blurry? Or, I mean, I know you can kind of get rid of the nature ones
Yeah,
relatively
most
easily,
people
but
just send me the carousel. I think
oh,
most
they do.
people, of the slides that I scan, my gut is that people are not reviewing it ahead of time because a lot of the photos that I'm scanning from slides, I'm like, this is not, I don't think worth keeping. Maybe it's meaningful to them. I don't know. But sometimes there's some great photos and sometimes there's great landscapes too. Like I just saw this beautiful mountain shot of the Rocky Mountain National Park that I was scanning the other day. And I was like, wow, I would frame that and put it on the wall from this slide.
So the other day we were talking about scrapbooks, right? And I know
Mhm.
some people are still all about scrapbooking. And I mean, we have a lot of those scrapbooks that we used glue to glue down everything
Oh,
from
yeah.
museum admission tickets to photos. And, my sister and I used to write little notes of like where we were and the funny things that happened. Do you have any suggestions for what to do with scrapbooks?
Scrapbooks are my favorite thing to scan. I have this big, huge beast of an oversized scanner, and I put these 12 by 12 scrapbook pages on. I love scanning them for multiple reasons. One, I love admiring the work that was put into that. Like these people cropped and got the special scissors with the designs and bought all these embellishments, right? It's so fun to see the creativity that we used to
Yeah,
put into this. But second, I know how much space I'm about to save somebody because those scrapbooks took up so much space on the shelves, especially if you did it for years and years and years. And so once there's a digital copy, maybe you're comfortable getting rid of those old ones that are falling apart. Once they're digital, it really alleviates that stress of well, what if there's a wildfire or a flood or the plumbing backs up, right? And really, if you scan a scrapbook page, it looks the same
it
online.
does.
I'm always surprised some of the 3D elements. They have little shadows, so it looks the same. I love scanning scrapbook pages. The downside is that's a hard one to tackle yourself. The oversized scanner that I have to use professionally costs like $3,000 to $4,000. It's not something that someone can just buy to have in their office in most cases. And so scrapbooks are something I definitely recommend outsourcing. I love to do that for people.
That really does make a ton of sense to outsource because you can't do that yourself and give
You
it
can
the
do the same
quality.
thing we talked about with,
Yeah.
the light near the window and take a picture overhead. You're not going to be able to recreate that picture you took at the 12 by 12 size, make a big
Mhm.
book of it because it's just a phone picture, but maybe you don't need it. Maybe you're never going to reprint and you just want the memory. So taking a picture with your phone is better than nothing to have a backup copy. But if you want to reprint them or make copies or like book copies. Sometimes I've had people downsizing as they're moving to a nursing home and they send me the scrapbooks and then they make modern photo books, the slim ones of the whole shelf fits into one little modern photo book and they make a copy for each kid.
I love
And so,
that.
yeah, there's so many fun things you can do
Yeah.
once you digitize them.
So, I mean, that kind of dovetails into one of my next questions, which was, okay, so, and we'll get to digital in a minute, but like once we've digitized the physical archive, so creating a new modern photo book is a great way to do it and to enjoy them. But like, what are some of the other ways that you encourage people to enjoy the photos now that they've taken all the time to digitize them?
Once they're digital, you can do whatever you want with them. I've seen people give their 100-year-old grandma in a nursing home an iPad that she can swipe through to see this all the scan photos or the scrapbook pages. She can review them on there like a book. You can make a slideshow for the 60th anniversary party, right? With all these scans from their wedding way back in the day. You can set them to music if you want to make a video, if you're a video editor. You can post them on Facebook. You can text them to your friends. You can do whatever you want. You can print them to put on your wall. Once they're digital, the options are endless.
That's true. That is true. And I think you also like the Aura frame. And I
I
love
love
my
my Aura
Aura
frame.
frame. We kind of
Yeah.
tease my mom. She's got an older version, so I have to like text or email pictures to it. But
Hmm.
I mean, she finally got it started up again, and I was like, you know what? I really want one of these because even we all have millions of pictures on our phone, and I mean, yeah, you can enjoy them in some way, but it's so nice to have it running through. And ours is in the kitchen. It's just nice to have it on
Yeah.
loop. I
It
love
leads to
that.
so much conversation and stories
Yeah.
sharing. That's the whole reason we took the photos. The awesome thing about frames now is if you haven't gotten a digital frame in recent years, in your mind, you're still thinking of the ones that used to be, where we had to manually load pictures. We never added more to it. We had to transfer things. They were cumbersome. I know they were
Yeah.
nice, but like high maintenance.
Yes.
Now these are zero maintenance. Now if you heart the photo in your camera roll, Aura knows about it and adds it automatically. And I'm like, I never have to maintain this frame, and there's always new stuff on it, and it's great.
Yeah.
So if it's been a while since you've tried a digital frame, they've changed a lot. They're so fun now. So in the app, I see both of ours, and if I have a picture I want to send her, I can just make it show up on her frame. I can make like a happy birthday mom or something and make it show up on her frame right now.
Okay, that's
So
next
fun.
level. I'm not
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
I aspire to get to be that good, but I agree with you. I love it. Let's switch and talk for a minute about your parents' digital library. I mean, I know, for instance, my dad is a traveler. He's traveled all over the world and he has taken pictures on all different kinds of digital cameras. And we still have, the little SD cards. I mean, he's got a pile on his desk and lots of things he's uploaded. He's moderately good with organizing in the cloud, but not great, right? So like I have this dream that someday he and I are going to spend a couple of hours and be like, "Oh, here's the pictures from your trip to Africa," or
Hmm.
here's so I don't, but again, like let's back up and say what's a reasonable place to start and a reasonable
Hmm.
goal.
Yeah, the digital realm is overwhelming because of the scale. So when we are talking physical items, we had a roll of film we had to pay to develop. And so we had the limitation of I'm just going to shoot whatever's on this roll of film before I can afford to buy the next roll of film, right? And so now that's gone. Now there's no repercussions for taking as many photos as we want. And so dad might have 40,000 pictures in his cloud, whereas in the basement, there might just be 1,000. And so the number is a lot to deal with, but it's the same mentality of most of those are just going to be for his enjoyment now. And there is going to be a very small percentage that are for his legacy or your enjoyment later. And so that's the work that I think our parents and ourselves should be doing is how do we earmark the ones that really matter? So when they pass away, we don't just have to log into a cloud and see 50,000 photos. We see one album that's like family legacy or family history. And it's tedious work. We have to review our library and make sure that we are designating our favorites. But um, the heart button, the favorite button, is really easy
Hmm.
to hit. That's a good way to start to delineate this is special or this isn't. And then I use what I call best of albums in my camera roll. So I have 30,000 pictures in my camera roll. They go all the way back to my scans from my childhood. So it is my whole life in one place. And I make best of albums What that means is there are 8,000 pictures of my son, who's almost 13, right? But there's a best of album for my son where there's only 300. And those are the really great ones over the course of his life that I've just added to this album periodically. It doesn't need to be a big project. But what that does is mean that when I get asked a question from his eighth grade teacher of like, hey, you need to submit something for the graduation slideshow or for the yearbook, I just go to the best of album for my son, and there's the best baby photos. There's the best middle school photos. There's the best everything for him. And it makes it so much easier to use. And then when he graduates, if I want to make him a photo book of like the highlight of his life, or highlights of his life, they're already
They're right
curated. I've
there.
got just this small subset there. So that curation work of deciding what, where, how am I going to like say these are the best items that I want to live beyond past me? Doesn't mean you have to get rid of your 30,000. You get to keep them. Those are yours. But how can we earmark the stuff that we want to live beyond us and be more selective? I have a best of for each kid. I have a best of the photos of them together. I call it
Mhm.
best of siblings. I have a best of the dog. I have a best of me and my husband. I have a best of myself that are my headshots. When I need to send them to you to promote this podcast, I'll
Right.
go to my best of Miss Freddy and send you the ones from there.
I mean, it's just you make it sound so easy. And I mean, my younger daughter just graduated from high school, and so this is very fresh in my mind, right? We had to put
Yeah,
together like the
it's a
whole
lot of
thing for the
work.
graduation party. And over the years, I mean, I'm not the worst. I'm a relatively good photo saver, but I'm definitely not the best. And having had I thought ahead and had a best of, it would have made just that process would have been so easy.
Yeah, bringing it back to the digital frame. When I got my Aura frame, I installed the app and I said, link to the best of albums. And that was it. Now all those good photos are the ones that come up on there. Or I can say make a slideshow, right? So my
Yeah.
son's best of maybe for graduation, I don't have to do a bunch of work. I just have it play as a slideshow.
Yes.
So it's really doing your future self a favor to do that curation work now. And it doesn't have to be hard. To make my son's best of album, I set a timer for 10 minutes. I typed his name into the search because facial recognition identified him. And I spent that 10 minutes, I spent just scrolling and checking the ones that I knew. Like you feel it. You're like, oh, that's one of my favorites of him. And I ended up with like 300 in those 10 minutes. We don't have to review every one of our 30,000 photos in order to make a great best of album.
Hmm. I love that. So I'm thinking again about my parents. So I'll be, I cram into my dad's office with him and I pull up a little chair next to him on the computer and we're doing things like, fixing passwords and logging into
Oh,
healthcare
yeah.
sites and all
The
that.
tech support is in
The
town.
tech support,
Yeah.
yes, very important. But I mean, I could say like, hey, let's set a timer for 30 minutes. Let's do this. Let's create a folder of, let's just say, whatever, the last cruise you guys took. And
Hmm.
we'll do a best of album and then we'll save your favorite photos from your cruise. Like, I guess I'm thinking of showing it to him. Here's how you
Hmm.
do it.
Here's
Let's
how
get
you
it
curate.
started. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then if he's interested in wanting to do it on his own at other times, he could do
Yeah.
that.
I would say the cruise is something for him to enjoy now. Those are probably not photos you need to like long term save for yourself because you weren't on the cruise, right?
Right.
And
Not that
so
one,
that's
sadly.
that's for him to enjoy. So that is a good place he can learn how to curate. But if you're thinking more about what's going to serve you long term, I would spend the 30 minutes where he types his name into the search, so his facial recognition for himself, and he picks his favorite pictures of himself and makes a best of dad album.
The face recognition is so powerful, and
Mhm.
I do use it for myself, but I love that as a way of saying, okay, let's sift through the 40,000. Like, this is the
Mhm.
first great pass. Let's get all the pictures of my dad or, pictures of my mom. And then, I mean,
Mhm.
it is their
And
60th.
pictures of them together. You can type
Yeah.
her name and his name into the search, and then it will be the ones that they are in together. Those are great to curate for you to have.
So I just put both names in
Mhm.
or click on both. Oh, I've never done that.
His name and her name, and then it will be the times they appear together. Now, it won't necessarily be exclusive. It could be a whole family photo from Christmas. They were both in there, and you were in there too, and other people, but it's going to narrow it down immediately for you to find. And they're going to want to link both the best of him and the best of them together. They're going to link that to their Aura frame so that they can enjoy these
I
photos right in their living
know.
room.
Sometimes when you're looking at old family photos, there are these old black and white ones, from like maybe, I don't know, like 1800s when early ancestors came over, or, there's pictures that there's people, you have no idea who they are.
Hmm.
And in some cases, someone might have written a note on the back, but in some cases, not. What do you think we do with those pictures?
It's going to be personal preference.
Yeah.
I would digitize them. If they were mine, I would digitize them and put them in a folder that was called Family History so that they are available in case some circumstance comes up that I can't envision right now that we're going to want that. Maybe a family tree project in school. I don't know. But I don't necessarily need to put them in my camera roll alongside all of my stuff. So I want them digital so that they're accessible, or I could share them with somebody else, like a sibling or something. But I don't need them to be in my facial recognition and in my
Right.
library.
So at least if you scan it, you have it in a way that will last.
Yeah, and it's up to you if you get rid of the originals because somebody's just always inheriting them, right? And it's somebody else's problem. You can reprint from those scans if you ever needed a physical copy again. You would just want to make extra sure you've got good backups in place so that you're not relying on one copy and then that drive crashes. You no longer have the physical items. That's the end of that history.
Yeah,
So,
right. That's no good. Okay,
yeah.
so that brings me to a great question. A great question. So my parents live in San Diego. Let's talk about backing up. I
Hmm.
mean, we share a family iCloud. We pay for whatever, multiple terabytes of
Hmm.
storage, and then we share that with my parents. But I don't really know that they know that they're where they're sharing it, or like
Hmm.
what is the best practice in backing up?
Best practice is to have three copies of your photo library.
Oh,
And so I teach that one should be in your possession, not cloud-based. So it can be on the computer itself or it can be on a hard drive. For most people, it's an external hard drive. An external hard drive is great for a copy that you have accessible. So even if there's no internet access, you can still interact with your photos. And then I like having two copies in the cloud. So I pay for two cloud services. For me, I pay for iCloud and I pay for Dropbox. And those are where I'm doing the facial recognition and the best of albums, and I'm linking it to my frame. The cloud is what gives us the technological advances, and it gives us the connectivity of, oh, I can be in San Diego and be pulling up these photos on my phone to show my dad. So I think it's a great combination for peace of mind. I have this drive in a safe or in my house somewhere, and I have two cloud-based copies. The most important thing is just don't rely on one. I have seen way too many instances where someone's iCloud has some glitch and they lose some things and they talk to Apple and Apple's like, well, you should have had a backup. It's like, well, great. Thanks. It's not like these were my precious memories.
I know. Well, because I think we get lulled into a false sense of security with iCloud,
Mhm.
right? We do think
Mhm.
it's the gold standard, and it feels like, okay, well, it's being saved somewhere. Being in the cloud would let you get to it some other way, but having a physical hard drive um, is portable, and you could take it with you if
Mhm.
you needed to in a way you can't pick up your computer.
When we had that fire roll through a couple years ago in Colorado, roll through the suburbs, and I was like, wow, actually, I just realized that you don't always get notice to evacuate, right? You don't
Mhm.
always, you think I'm going to run in and I'm going to grab my hard drive, but you might have been out at Costco when they ordered your neighborhood evacuated and you can't get back in. I didn't realize how fast it happens
Yes.
because I just hadn't experienced it before. And so having a cloud-based copy of your library saves you in that moment where you can't get back to your hard drive. The cloud is great for so many reasons because all the things I've just talked about here, like facial recognition, making a best of album, linking to the frame, making a slideshow automatically, all of that is powered by the
Mhm.
cloud. When you put your photos in the cloud, you get all this modern technology when it comes to photos that is really fun.
So, is there a way that you can do some of this work for your parents' photo library remotely?
Good question. Um, I do all of my work with clients remotely via screen share software. So you could say, "Hey, Dad, let's make an appointment tonight for an hour on Zoom." And we can review those cruise photos together because in Zoom, there's the button to share your screen. So, yes, you're not sitting next to him in San Francisco, but you can be looking at the library on his computer screen at the same time as him to have that discussion virtually. So, that would work. Um, when you said that you guys share iCloud space, my guess is that you're on the family sharing plan, which means you share the billing and you share
Yes.
the space, but you don't share the media. So his photos are still under his Apple ID, your photos are still under your Apple ID. So you don't have access to his photos to clean them up for him through a shared iCloud plan like that. But you could use, yeah, a screen share in Zoom on
Yeah.
your Mac. You can
Hmm.
make a user that is his Apple ID, and then the library you see there would be the same as the library on his computer. If you deleted some things, they would be being deleted from his phone and his computer too, though.
That's true.
Yeah.
And
So
also,
I think
like,
it's
I
better to
can't
have him there.
even I can't even find the time to get my own photos put together.
Right.
I feel like I don't need to be dedicating extra time to his. But I mean, the reality is that time is running out, right? When your parents
Mhm.
are older, you don't have forever to do some of this.
Mhm.
So kind of prioritizing it and saying like, hey, yeah, let's, have a glass of wine. You have it in San Diego, I'll have it here. Let's do a screen share for 45 minutes and let's look at
Yeah.
some
Talk.
photos, and just make it an opportunity to share. I was going through my mom's closet with her, and we came up with my dad's high school and college yearbooks
Oh.
because my parents don't throw anything meaningful
Hey, I have
out.
my high school yearbooks. I love them. My friend just asked me if a name sounded familiar, and I was like, why? And she's like, I think we went to high school with him. I was like, I'm gonna look it up in the yearbook and let you know. They sometimes come in
They
handy.
do. They totally do. I mean, and actually it's really funny. He was going through with my daughter and showing her, oh, this was my, basketball teammate back to
Yeah,
the old boyfriends and girlfriends. I dated
yeah,
this girl, I dated that girl. So, I mean, it did make for a kind of 2 hour sharing opportunity that was priceless, right? So
yeah.
it is really fun to have some of that stuff and to pull it out when the opportunity presents itself and
But
share it.
those physically, those might end with him, right? The benefit was the interaction with him and your daughter, right? And the stories. And so that if that might end with him, then those yearbooks don't hold as much value anymore to you. So I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm not expecting my kids to take my high school
no.
yearbooks.
They don't care who our middle school boyfriend was, and none of
No.
that's going to matter to them for sure. Taking the time and the opportunity to treasure the physical things that you do have, turn it into that sharing opportunity, and just accepting that's really why we have them. We're not going to
Yeah.
save that for eternity, but it's
Yeah.
nice in those moments.
There is a cool app. I don't know if you've heard of it. It's called Artifacts.
Mm.
And it's a like memory keeping service app. So you could take a picture of his yearbook cover and then you add the story he told into the comments. And so you artifact certain items. And so it's meant to artifact physical items, right? Like this picture of grandma's jewelry, and you attach, well, this was given to her by so and so. You attach the stories to the physical items, and you can attach a value, which might be helpful for insurance purposes or things. And so that is a neat app for kind of this purpose. You
Oh,
wouldn't
I'm
use
gonna,
it for all 30,000 photos in your
right.
library, but
I love it. I will definitely check that out. I mean, there are
yeah,
so many tools that are available to us now, but sometimes for me it can get overwhelming. Like, which are the
yeah.
good ones? Where do I start? So these little tips are so helpful, and
I love the
also,
idea of sitting with your dad and doing some of it with him,
mhm,
just to like, here's the process. And then he can repeat it over
yeah.
and over again.
Oh yeah.
And then he can share that best of dad album or best of mom and dad album. He can share that with you as an email link so you can download it and save it to your computer if you want. He can make it a shared album that becomes collaborative so you can add your favorite pictures of dad into it too. I mean, the first step is just let's get the album made and get some items in it. It doesn't have to be perfectly finished. Let's just get some good pictures of dad in there. to get us started.
Are there any other tips or tricks or tools that come to mind on this topic?
I think it's really easy to get distracted by the junk when you're working in your digital library. So when you sit down next to your dad, he's gonna be like, oh, that was junk. Oh, I didn't mean to take that. Oh, that someone walked in front of that. I forgot to delete it, right? It's so easy to get sidelined by focusing on the junk rather than focusing on, oh, this is the one I want to be on the aura frame. This is the one that I want to go into the best of album. This is the one that I'm going to put in a photo book. This one I might print. So it's so much better use of your time to focus on the best ones because they can pay off long term. Yes, it's only natural to, find the junk and delete it, but don't let that be your focus of,
Okay.
Dad, today we're going to sit down and delete at least 100 pictures from your library. That's just not going to pay off or be as fun.
My dad in particular seems to take a lot of pictures of the sidewalk or his thumb. And he
It's
jokes
true.
about it too, right? He's always like, oh my gosh, this is a Tom special. But you're
And
right.
he gets to keep those. He gets to
Yes.
keep those. They don't need to go in the best of Tom album.
And so saying, yeah, we're not going to delete anything today. That's not our mission. Our mission is to heart 100 or whatever it is.
Yeah.
I mean, I love that, and not getting sidetracked in the minutia that just doesn't matter. Well, this was so fun. I really appreciate you taking the time to share your wisdom and expertise with us. And I
Yes.
know that you have so many great courses on your website and your blog, and lots of expertise and articles we can read, and things we can sign up to dive deeper. So I will be sure to direct people to your resources. But I really appreciate your time and thinking all these things through with me as I plan to head to San
Yes.
Diego and tackle it.
Very important conversation. I'm so glad. So glad that we had it.
Yeah, me too. Awesome. All right. Well, thank you. And until next time, we're signing off from Who Gets the China? Who Gets the China is written and hosted by Kirsten Mau, produced by Aaron Bryce of Blue Ogden Productions. Our theme music is composed by Greg Fellman of Wind Sand Productions. Our cover art is by Jen Beam of Gigawatt Studio. For more stories and expert advice, follow along on Substack or at www.whogetsthechina.com. If you enjoyed this episode, please share it with someone who might appreciate the conversation. And don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. Until next time.